President of the Basnayaka Nilames Association, Gammanu Tilaka Bandarawali Sundara, says that Basnayaka Nilames enshrines that come under the purview of the Temple Lands Ordinance have been subjected to numerous threats. Gammanu Tilaka Bandarawali Sundara made this statement while addressing the annual general meeting of the association in Kurunegala yesterday.
It is disappointing to say that security has not been provided to any of these shrines. We even held a discussion with the President on this matter and he issued an order to the IGP to provide the necessary security. But sadly, this has not happened. Today, Basnayaka Nilames have received death threats regarding the protection of lands and duties. The situation is such that their families cannot be outdoors. And this is because of the court cases filed by the shrines. But none of the Nilames have received protection. I say that if any of these Nilames, their families or their lands are harmed, I hold the Sri Lanka Police Department responsible. Attention was also focused on the shortage of elephants for the Peraharas of the Devalas. I'm warning the government that in the next 5 years, apart from the Dalada Maligawa, any other Devala would not be able to have a Perahara because there are no elephants to do so. There are only 31 temples under the Temple Lands Ordinance in Sri Lanka and none of these temples have been provided an elephant. In the past, elephants were provided, but not to the right places. Minister Jayaratna Herath, who also attended this event, said that steps will be taken to put forward a cabinet paper in this regard.
Speaking in Karandaniya today, leader of the Janasetta Peramuna, Venerable Battaramulle Seelarathanathera, says that at present the country fears thugs than terrorists. Venerable Battaramulle Seelarathanathera arrived to pay his last respects to the remains of an individual who was killed in an attack launched by a group of thugs in the Anuruddhagama area in Alpitia.
The country is terrorized more by thugs than actual terrorists. There are thugs all over Sri Lanka. What do? If the police takes prompt action as and when a complaint is lodged, this situation would not arise. A Buddhist monk was murdered in Moratua. How many complaints were lodged by this terror? The police did not heed these complaints until the terror was murdered. DIG of the Western Province North, Vaskunwardana, says that police officers who lack a strong backbone should be removed from areas coming under his purview. The DIG made this statement while addressing a function in Mirigama yesterday. There are certain groups that assault police officers. As the DIG of the Western Province North, I spoke to my officers and said that no police officer should be assaulted in the future. We have given them weapons and they were not given ordinary bullets. They were given 20 rounds each. The police is the only place that the public can tell their sorrows to. The police force should behave in a proper manner and protect the law. And if a police officer is being assaulted by a certain group, the respective OIC or ASP should leave this division with immediate effect. I want the society to be free of extortionists, drug dealers and murderers. They must be eradicated or turned into law-abiding citizens. The time has come for criminals to understand these two options because I am not afraid. The event was held at the Mirigama Youth Guest House to felicitate the OIC of the Mirigama Police, Eric Pereira. The revised electricity tariffs are on the tip of everyone's tongues at the moment. However, this story tells the tale of a group of people who, in spite of having electricity posts, have no electricity supply in order to receive an electricity bill. A high-ranking minister of the government promised to provide us with electricity, and this promise was made during the elections. These people are from the village of Havana in Padyatalava, Ampara. The foundation stone was laid and this electricity post was erected on the 27th of August last year under the auspices of the then Minister of Power and Energy to provide electricity for the village of Havana. Both sides of the road were also cleared with the cost being borne by the villagers in order to draw cables. Agriculture is the main source of income for the more than 100 families residing in Havana. These villagers are now impatiently waiting for the day when the authorities will fulfill their promise and provide them with these most basic facilities in the modern world.
The Meteorological Department in Chennai, India says that showers will be experienced in all parts of the island except the northern province during the next 24 hours. A spokesperson attached to the department attributed this to low pressure condition developing in seas of South India. Meanwhile, several houses in the Vattala area are still underwater as a result of the heavy rains experienced over the island.
The Neremula Vadikanda and Vattala Mabole Vayambu areas were inundated owing to the inclement weather. According to our correspondent, 277 houses were underwater as a result of the bad weather. The Met Department in Colombo said that showery weather is expected during the next few days due to the atmospheric disturbances in the vicinity of Sri Lanka.
Due to the atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of Sri Lanka, showery weather is expected during the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will be fairly widespread over island during the today night and tomorrow afternoon. Heavy rainfalls are also likely at some places. Showers or thunder showers can be expected in western and southern provinces during the tomorrow morning too. General public is, especially fisheries, are kindly requested to be vigilant about heavy rain, lightning activities and localized strong winds during the thunder showers.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
Action TV revealed yesterday that although the intensive care unit of the Dambulla Base Hospital, which was declared open 26 months ago, was supposed to commence operations from the 1st of this month, this had been postponed for no apparent reason. From the day it was declared open, the obstacle that has prevented the ICU from becoming functional are problems surrounding the staffing of the unit with doctors and nurses. Although the commencement of the ICU's operations were postponed for no apparent reason even after the staffing issues were addressed, heavy rains experienced in the area last night gave rise to the question as to whether there is any point to the continuation of not only the ICU but the operating theatre housed in the same building as well. This building, which has been brought to this pass 2 years after its construction was completed, also shows signs of cracks. Following an expose carried by Action TV on the 11th of May 2011, the provincial governor had to come to this location to correct faults that had arisen with the wastewater disposal system constructed adjacent to the hospital. Meanwhile, the foundation stone was laid yesterday for the construction of an ICU at the Theldania Base Hospital. However, according to the construction plans drawn up by the Central Engineering Consultancy Bureau via the Central Province Department of Health, the ICU should have been constructed as the final phase of the construction of a building complex housing 5 other units. In November 2011, it was decided to secure a grant of 576 million rupees from the aid organization JICA for the construction of this complex, for which the project proposal had also been approved by JICA. In accordance with this proposal, the foundation for the construction of the most important building in this complex, housing the ICU, should have been laid at least a year ago. The Provincial Ministry of Health's obstinance with regard to completing the project using the funds that were granted in accordance with the project proposal of the Provincial Department of Health is a cause for the delay in this project getting off the ground. It could be that the unit established by JICA for the disbursement of the funds is a cause for the obstinance of the Provincial Ministry of Health. At present, this unit is being headed by the Secretary to the Ministry. The event held yesterday to mark the laying of the foundation stone was organized by the unit headed by herself. However, even now tenders have been called for and granted only for the mortuary of this hospital. Since the current mortuary at the hospital is sufficient, according to the project proposal approved by JICA, the new mortuary should be constructed as the final phase of the project. It is questionable as to whether the project implementation unit of the Teldenia Base Hospital, which has its priorities askew, would be able to complete this project by 2015 as stated in the proposal. Even though the money secured from JICA was a grant, will other institutions in this country be able to be on the receiving end of such philanthropy if this unit cannot work according to a plan? Governor of the Central Province, this one is over to you.
The Ape Gamai, Ape Kamai Sirasa Radio program organized by Sirasa FM was held in Thalangama North today.
Funds and equipment were donated under the program today to the Sri Sucharita Dhamma School at the Hinadikumura Purana Vihare in Thalangama North, parallel to the 19th anniversary of Sirasa FM. It would be proper if the government were paying wages to the Sirasa Media Network for the services they are rendering. They impartially tell the people everything, where the killings have occurred, where the kidnappers are, and where theft has taken place. The media directs us in the correct path. If the people, the listeners, have consistently placed us at the number one position, we have to do something in return. This is why we become part of their lives. This is why we function under the tagline Sirasa FM is your closest neighbor. I believe that over 400 children here will benefit from this.
මේක දැනෙන්න ඔවුන්ට එකෙන් වැඩක් ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.